Sean, you've got to do one thing at least competently, preferably really well, if you really want to enjoy playing this game.
Absolutely, and I've heard it said a lot of times from a lot of smart people, if you can't drive, you can't play.
If you can't get off the tee, this game becomes very difficult. You've got to putt well to win, right? Nobody wins usually putting terribly, but man, if you're going to play well, if you're going to beat your buddies, you've got to put the ball in play, and preferably a long ways off the tee.
Yeah, in this video, we're going to give you the #1 most important key to great driving.
One of our mentors, Scott Hamilton, the players voted him behind Butch the second most influential instructor out there on the PGA Tour. He works with a number of players, usually 10, 15 guys out there at any given year, every week. And he's known for helping guys drive the ball better.
Yeah, if you're coming to him struggling with driving, that's...
You're going to the right guy.
That's what he's known for. He's going to help you drive it better.
That's right, if you can see him, which
is
very tough to do. But we spent so much time with Scott. I get to work with him virtually every day, and you just learn so much being around someone that experienced in the game with helping guys drive the ball better. And one of the coolest parts about that is you get to see kind of behind the curtain of what it takes to drive the ball really well. And that's what we want to share with you in this video. It's, if you can do this, it makes up for a lot of sins that may have happened before that.
Yeah, and you know, we've had a lot of videos on setup, and we know that we like to have the club on a swing plane, right? Good grip,
all important,
good sequence. But really, in the end, the essence of good driving all comes down to where this club is aligned at impact, where the face is pointed, hit it in the middle of the face. And I think the takeaway from this video is, where do we want this shaft aligned at impact? Because we know a lot of golfers are obsessed with shaft lean.
Yes.
You know, and it's always talked about with irons, right? Let's get the shaft forward, let's get the shaft forward. And I think a lot of guys sometimes come in with the idea they need to be doing the same thing with the driver, and they really don't.
Right. There are basically two clubs in the bag that you want to deliver pretty much with a vertical shaft, right?
Yeah.
And they're both ends of the hole.
Right.
Your putter and your driver.
It's a great point. Like Mike said, with putting, we're just trying to return the shaft basically the way you had it at address, vertical. But with driving, you see a lot of good players with the handle back a little, just because the ball's forward in the stance. But at impact, the pelvis is a little forward, it's a little open, and what you're going to want to do, and this is the key of this video, is get this shaft vertical at impact.
Kind of have all of this lined up relative to the body. Right? It doesn't do us any good to have the body slid way out in front of it with a vertical shaft. Or
in contrast, trying to hit up this way, or even back here like this.
Right, that's a great point. We don't want to hit up by changing this variable. We want to hit up by moving the arc of the club. And that's not from hanging back and giving it the old backward shaft,
No, and if you can arrive at impact, good body positioning, and have this relationship between your arm and club, and it's vertical, and you hit somewhere in the sweet spot with a square face, the ball is going to go straight.
That's exactly right.
I mean, that's just the way it works.
Right. It's going to stabilize the club face. It's going to have the path working pretty good. It's going to have the angle of attack working where you want it. It's going to do a lot of good things that there's not a lot of room for error when you're dealing with this amount of loft.
No.
So we want all these things dialed in. Now, let's kind of show you exactly how this goes in gears. We're going to show you some of the best players in the world, how they line the club up, what that looks like, and what you can look for in our drills when we come back after that. Here we've got our PGA Tour player with his 7-iron and his driver. I know this is a driver video, but I think it's important to talk about a few of the key differences between the two with regards to what we're talking about today. So here it's set up with his 7-iron. He has his shaft leaned about 2 degrees forward. With his driver, he's about 2 degrees in the opposite direction. So his 7-iron, he's leaning it forward. His driver is leaning it slightly back. And just for an easy reference for what these degrees actually mean, if you think of a 1-minute hand on a clock, that's 6 degrees. So 2 degrees is a pretty small amount. So with both clubs, he has very little lean here set up. And this is something we typically see with the best players. Now let's put up a box to frame his shoulders. And we're going to drop this box down from his shoulders down to his feet. A couple things you'll notice here with this box. The shoulders are well centered inside of his feet. You don't see him leaning away from the target with his upper body. We see that a lot with amateur golfers. They'll really lean the body away to where these shoulders, this box would no longer be centered between their feet. And you'll also notice that when you're doing this with your own swing, underneath this bottom left-hand corner of the box, that's a great place to put your ball. Our pro here likes it about a ball behind that, but right there at that corner is a great place to put your ball, and it's how you can check your ball position when you're doing this at home. So this box gives us a good reference for a couple things that we're not only looking for at setup, but it's also going to give us a great reference when we move him into impact. With the 7-iron, he went from 2 degrees of forward lean. Now he's up to 12 degrees of forward lean. So he's increased that forward lean by 10 degrees. But notice how he's done that. He's moved both his upper body and his lower body forward of where they were at address. His left shoulder and hip are now both in front of the box. And if you've ever heard the term covering the golf ball, this is a textbook example of what that looks like. He's moved the center of his chest 2.5 inches forward, as well as the center of his hips 4.5 inches forward from where they were at setup. His hands and head have also moved forward. All of this creating that tour-like compression and shaft lean that we're so used to seeing from the best players in the world. So that's what happens with an iron. Now let's look at what typically happens with good drivers. We see he's still moved everything forward. His hips are even farther forward, in fact, than they were with a 7-iron. But unlike his iron swing, he's impacting the ball with his left shoulder and arm on that box rather than through it. And instead of 12 degrees of forward shaft lean, he now has 1. So everything's pretty much arriving at impact on the front side of this box. This is a very pro-like place to be with the driver. Now, before we talk about angle of attack, hitting up and down on it, we need to cover one very important piece of this puzzle. So if we move our pro back to earlier in the downswing, when his left arm is parallel to the ground coming down, you're going to see him do something that is very important and something that helps him generate lots of speed. He has shifted both his upper and lower body forward together, the same amounts for both clubs. Doing what you see here will allow you to get your weight and pressure forward early so you can take advantage of these awesome speed generating ground forces down by the golf ball. We talk about this a lot in our videos. This is a key piece to the golf swing, and it's a thing that a lot of golfers can wrap their head around with irons, but it also happens with the driver, and we wanted to show you that here. It's not just a matter of throwing the hips forward, hanging the upper body back. If you just look at address and impact, it's about how to get there that really creates the speed to make all this work. All right, now let's take a pretty cool look at angle of attack. So what you're looking at now is our same pro as he stands over 5 different shots. What's cool about this is we captured these swings before he went out and won. So he was swinging pretty good here at the time. It's a huge asset for us and the player to be able to capture their swings when they're playing well. It gives us a great reference for later down the road when things get off track. The point being to all that, these are 5 different swings, and you have to look very closely to be able to spot any differences here at setup. Now, as impressive as this setup is and the consistency in it, what's even more impressive is each one of these swings represents a different angle of attack. And you're going to see some very similar movements as we progress through these swings. In this first swing, he's hitting 1 degree down on it. You can see his upper and lower body positions to produce this 1 degree negative angle of attack. In the second swing, he's hitting with a level angle of attack, so a 0 angle of attack, and again, you're seeing the associated body positionings to produce that level angle of attack. Now here in the third swing, we're starting to hit up on it. He's starting to have that positive angle of attack. He's hitting 2 degrees up on it in this swing. In the fourth swing, he's now hitting 3 degrees up on it. And now here in our fifth swing, he's hitting with a 5 degree positive angle of attack. So he's hitting 5 degrees up on his driver in this swing. When we ask our amateur golfers to do something similar and just vary their angle of attack, we often see big setup changes. We'll see noticeable changes to the backswing, and oftentimes we'll see a completely different downswing and how they come into the golf ball. Most golfers are just under the impression that it takes, acts of Congress to make significant changes to angles of attack. But as you can see here, the differences are extremely subtle, or should be subtle. He's changed his angle of attack 6 degrees from 1 degree down to 5 degrees up with virtually no visible change to his mechanics. If you didn't see any numbers here on the screen, you'd be very hard pressed to spot which swing produced which angle of attack. You're looking at virtually the same golf swing. So the takeaway, you can hit up on it from all the same sound mechanics you hear us talk about in all of our videos. Don't be under the impression that you need to hang back, lean the shaft away, do anything funny with the wrist or arms to hit up on it to produce longer tee shots. All that's just going to hurt your driver swing, possibly hurt you, and it's going to destroy your iron game. Now let's head back to the range to talk about a drill to help you do this in your swing. All right, so now let's take a look at a way that we can change what you're doing for the better, hopefully, and train it, right? It's important to do. So you can use a phone or an iPad for this. It's just super convenient to have something like the Live Pro so you don't have to keep going from the golfer to the camera guy, back to the golfer to analyzing. You can train this stuff in real time. That's hence Live View. Yeah,
it's the way the brain learns, right? You need immediate feedback.
So let's have you set up. Yeah. Exactly right. All right, so I'm gonna put that box that we just saw in the gears video. I'm gonna put that box right around, set up to it, Sean?
Yes, all right.
I'm gonna put that box right around Sean. Okay, so we're good with that.
Okay.
We're gonna put the iPad down. Actually, I'll hold it just so I don't have to keep bending down. And we're gonna have you make a full swing, but a slow swing.
Okay, well put it down so I can at least see what I'm doing when I'm, yeah, perfect. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, and Mike's drawing my lines there, I'm gonna go slow from the top and try to get the club to line up on that line. My tendency is to overlean everything this way, and I can see I'm outside my box there when I do that.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna do that a few times slow. Just get my alignments at impact, see what that feels like and see where my body needs to be positioned, because that's how you're gonna learn. You have to chunk things up and go slow. Now, like Mike said, I'm gonna make a full swing now and hit the ball 30 yards. I'm gonna attempt to, and then I'm gonna hit record, hit my microphone button on my Live View, and it's gonna hear the sound of the hit and record the swing for me so I can see if I did it correctly. Okay, little chip shot there with the driver. It recorded it. And I'm gonna check and get my feedback. And actually that was pretty good. I was able to line it up right about at impact. I'm inside the box, so I call that one good rep. Now, I didn't hit the ball all that well because it's fairly difficult to make a full swing of the driver at 30 yards, but it doesn't matter on the hit right away. You're just trying to get a feel for the movement.
Yeah, you've got the shaft, club, shoulder, all that stuff that we saw in the gears videos pretty well lined up. That's hard for you to do because your tendency is to lean it.
Well, I mishit it because I'm not used to having the club there.
That's exactly right.
So don't give up on the motion when you hit it bad, because your brain needs time to learn where the center of the club face is with this new movement pattern.
So you did this correct.
Yeah.
Poor impact.
Yeah.
Now's not the time to add more speed to it.
No, and now's not the time to give up on it because you hit it bad. You're trying to get your brain to adjust to the new pattern, so then you start finding the middle of the face.
So the way we would train this is you would either stay at that speed or go slower until we get this right and impact right.
And then you speed it up
and
gradually.
then allow the speed to build from there.
And when it breaks down again, you slow it down again.
Come back down.
And this process, work on it 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day. Over time, you start to change your motor pattern, and you're going to start driving a lot better. And this is not a Band-Aid fix. This is going to be something to last you the rest of your life. So go ahead and put the time in and get it better, and you're going to drive it better.
This is not only going to improve your good shots, this is going to drastically improve your off shots, right?
Yeah.
That's golf, right?
That's what it's all about. Yep. Your ability to improve your bad shots is what's going to allow you to have more fun and play better golf. Well, not only that, you're going to also hit your good shots farther and straighter.
Start lining up the driver, you'll enjoy it out there off the tee.
Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did enjoy it, go ahead and give it a like. Also, if you have any questions about today's video, or you have an idea of a video that you want us to shoot, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. We read every single comment. We also respond to the comments. So again, leave us a comment if you have any questions or there's anything you'd like to see. Now, if you haven't already, click the subscribe button. We have videos coming out every single week, and we don't want you to miss one. So by clicking subscribe, that ensures you're notified right away when a new video comes out. And hey, if you want to add instant distance to your drive, and we all do, everybody wants more distance, go ahead and click the link in the pinned comment below. You're going to see a link. Click on it. It's going to take you to a page. You're going to enter your name and email address. We're going to send you an email where you're going to get access to instant distance, which is a video training that we put out. We know it's going to help you. We know we're going to see you farther down the fairway.